So tonight we're going to talk about a fucked up story and a fucked up marketplace and how open data is making that a little bit less fucked up. So a few years ago, the mortgage crisis hit the United States and then globally, and the stock market took a deep dive. At that point in time, a group of organizers and a woman named Elizabeth Warren, they lobbied Congress, woohoo! They lobbied Congress to create a federal agency to help protect the consumers and prevent that from happening in the future. In July 2010, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau was created. The CFPB was different than everything that came before it in that it regulated all these different things. And so prior to that, in a state-by-state basis, a credit card or a mortgage was regulated by all these different agencies, and now it's done by one place, the CFPB. It made it a lot easier to get resolution if you had some problems. A few months later, President Obama appointed Elizabeth Warren, woohoo! At that point, I joined the team. I was one of the first 20 people, launched our first website, built the tech team, and all these different things. Because we were a new agency, we had the opportunity to do things a little bit differently, a lot differently. It was really cool to be part of an ethos that wanted to think about regulation in a new way, to think about technology in a new way, and that's what we did. So we were quite fortunate that we could do things in open source. We were quite fortunate that we launched this beta, just basic website, in an agile way, and in WordPress and Django. So once we got this live, what we did is we started small, and we looked at our services, like the core things that we, as a government agency, can provide that no one else can. And that was this complaint form. Pretty basic, pretty simple. However, it was prior to this, it was a 28-page paper form, and you could file it online. We'd pass it on to the bank. So let's say you're having a problem with your credit card company and they weren't getting back to you. That's when you'd come to us. Same with mortgages and student loans. So we had all this data, and about 9 months after we launched our complaint form, we decided to open our database. And it pissed off all the banks, and it pissed off all, yeah. You get it. It was anonymized, but basically this was holding, I like that. This was holding this Wall Street accountable, and it was quite powerful and quite controversial, but we knew it was the right thing to do. We knew that it would really kind of level the playing field a little bit. It's been really interesting to kind of see how it's changed our agency and how it's changed the banks. So from there, what you're seeing is that the banks are actually behaving better since it launched. Some really basic things like good customer service have started. Like, honestly, banks have put FAQs online now. And over here it's different. In the States it's way more fucked up. But they weren't doing that before that. Social media monitoring to kind of pick up what trends were happening, or like what bad things people were saying about their products. So before they bitch to us, the federal regulator, they can handle it themselves. So it actually has been quite successful in some really basic ways. At a higher level, some banks are integrating a customer service representative, or just basic complaint type of people at the highest levels. TD Bank, yeah, they now make sure their letters make sense before they send them. Thank you, government. Bank of America is it's one of every 4 complaints filed. And these, again, they're making their processes a lot clearer, the kind of basic things. 3% doesn't sound like a lot, but it actually is if you think about the number of complaints, if you think about the number of banks, and you think about the fact that none of this was happening before we came along. So one kind of cool thing is now it's also created this this playing field for the banks to compete against each other to see, because now there's the comparative data. It's out there, and that's what they're using. So, go data science. Internally at CFPB, they use this data to, again, spot trends, to see what's going on in the marketplace, to make new regulations, to respond to it, to do it in smart ways. There's some cool shit on our website. You should check it out. Oh, you should check it out. So all this data is open. There's a mortgage database, which has a ton of cool data, as well as our complaint database. It's mostly open source, and you should play with that. Thanks.